We're tracking local jobs this morning as Sears continues to close several stores. More than 50 people now will be out of a job. That's at Great Northern Mall.
Yeah, the closure comes in a line of nearly 100 Sears stores that will shut down nationwide just this year.
Now, this Sears, among the many stores the company says is simply not turning a profit.
Welcome to Rumored Episode 4. I'm your host, Luke Radel. Now, the Great Northern Mall, just outside of Syracuse, New York, has been suffering for a while now, losing key anchor stores like Macy's and Bon-Ton in the last few years. But the closure of Sears may have hurt it the most.
Owners of Great Northern Mall are suing the town of Clay. They want to try and get their assessment lowered.
They're looking to cut their assessment from $1.4 million to just over $315,000. That's a difference of just over $1.1 million. The change would significantly cut down on Great Northern's tax burden. This is what the town supervisor had to say.
At the moment, our position is that it looks like they're delinquent in taxes.
Now, Ulatowski says unless Great Northern can prove a 25% or more vacancy at the mall, relief is unlikely. The departure of Macy's and soon-to-be Sears don't count towards that total because they were separately owned.
Bring in assistance to CAC board, bring in assistance to CAC board, thank you.
Big bankruptcy news of the morning. Sears Holdings, parent company of Sears and Kmart, filing for Chapter 11 earlier this morning, succumbing to a mountain of debt and failure to adapt to a changing retail landscape. Sears faced a $134 million debt payment that was supposed to be due today. The company reached a deal with its creditors to keep most of its operations running. That's for now. Sears will close 142 money-losing stores. That's going to happen by the end of the year, with liquidation sales expected to begin soon. That's in addition to the 46 stores that are expected to be shut by next month. The company has roughly 700 Sears and Kmart stores and employs about 70,000 people.
This is the revenue for each of the 13 years. It's amazingly lower each year. You would think that there'd be 1 or 2 years in there with slight growth, but no, every year is lower than the last. Here's their income for that same range. It at least started out positive, but then they've been losing money for the past 7 years. Here's a graph that shows their number of locations. Their peak was in 2011 with 4,000, and by the end of 2017, they were down to 1,000. That number has since dropped to 687, and there's also at least 142 more set to close soon. This one may be the best visual of their decline. Comparable store sales. It shows how much each store is selling compared to the previous year. 13 straight years of negative comparable store sales. That's crazy. In 2017, despite closing hundreds of stores, they're selling 13.5% less in each store on average. All of these numbers are insane. Look at this. In 2017, they had more liabilities than they had assets. That means even if they sold everything they own, they wouldn't even come close to paying off all their debts.
You've heard this all before, but malls are on the decline. As big retailers struggle in the world of online shopping, once big-name brands like Sears and Toys R Us fall by the wayside and become just empty storefronts. Malls and their owners need to adapt quickly if they want to survive in the rapidly changing world of shopping.
Tom and Julie Gangemi's mall date today is very different from what they remember when Great Northern opened 30 years ago.
I've seen it grow when it first started over the years, but lately just walking around here you see a lot of stores that are no longer around, and we were walking through trying to figure out who was where.